Right, let's go and have a look behind, see how we're getting on. I have to be careful with my footing here. This is the gully behind the house. Well, there's been a bit of improvement along here, and I can see Paul in the far distance, so it's cleared out quite a bit here. Come down. Got visitors today. Look at it, it looks like a scene out of Aleppo. Another huge trunk. In there, you probably can't see, but on that stake sticking up, there is a night cam, because I think there's some birds that I want to photograph. There goes Paul, working hard. He doesn't mind a bit of hard work, do you, Paul?
I don't know. It feels like he's killing me, but I don't mind it.
Let's follow Paul and see what he's up to. And this is the other side of the gully. And you can see how much has been done here. Quite a lot of work. And there's just that bit in the middle. It doesn't look like much, but it's a lot. Oh, hello, my friends. I've just popped indoors. It started to rain. Today's been mostly, well, not clear, but certainly it's been drizzling away. It's opened up a little bit, but most of the morning was clear for rain. I'm going to read to you eventually some of my novel. Beforehand, just to say, I hope you enjoyed watching a little bit of footage. Paul got here today and was working quite well out the back, clearing the gully. A little bit to do now. He's started from both ends and there's a bit in the middle. He's going to come out again. He's got to go, and he's got a job for 6 days or so. So we won't finish that off. He'll also remove, there's a tree that sort of collapsed on the top of the house. It's not a big tree. It's not broken anything or done anything. It's just sort of looks a bit ridiculous. So that's going to go. I'm drinking a bit of Bunnahavn Isla whiskey, and I need it. I feel tired today. Had an unexpected visitor who just dropped in, and so that took a bit of time up. But today, principally, has been a day of quietude, really. So I've got nothing to report. I've set up a night cam in the log shed. There is something inside the wall, the gable end of the house. Do excuse me, I've got a bit of a tickly cough today. I don't know what species it is. Lisa said that it's got a red or orange breast, so that could be a robin, that could be a bullfinch, it could be any manner of thing, probably a chaffinch, I think. No idea. Odd that it's in there, so I suspect it's probably a robin. But anyway, it's got babies, which are making a certain amount of noise. I haven't seen it myself, but I've set the cam up anyway, so maybe tomorrow, God willing, we may have some footage. So a very quiet day, a convivial afternoon of conversation with our visitor, whilst Paul manfully laboured on. Did a good job, really. So we need to get him out to finish off what he started, and do a bit of loggage, a bit of chainsaw work, and remove that tree from the roof. And just chop it up. And he said he's going to clamber up there with his chainsaw or whatever, and we'll sort that problem out. The house should look quite good then, because the house in the past has just been hidden by trees at the back, hidden by trees at the front, hidden by trees at either side. Nobody knew the place was here. And now it's really owning the territory, it's owning the bank. And once all the detritus is removed from around it, well, it's only at the back now, it will literally stand firm, erect, on its own, occupying its own space, and I can perambulate around it, you see, and it'll have certain, I don't know, independence, integrity, and that's quite lovely, and probably hasn't been like that for many a decade. I'm not smoking with pipe because I've got a bit of a a bit of a tickle in throat, and so I'm just well, I'm having a bit of snuff, I suppose, and thought I'd come in and just say hello, give you that update. And read you a chapter of my book. We haven't done one for a while, have we? I think we're on chapter 8. So you'll remember that... where did we leave it? Oh no, we were at Home Farm, weren't we? And Lorna had come home after an unsuccessful auction, and Alan and Vera Stroud were putting up the Christmas tree, and it was all feeling very homely and very Christmassy. And we now launch into our next chapter. So I hope you're all sitting comfortably, my friends. I better take another swig of me whiskey, because my voice is croaky today. Chapter 8. A biting northerly wind greeted Lorna as she saddled Marybelle the following morning. After a hearty breakfast of bacon and eggs, she decided to ride out. The sun began sleepily to cast its light over the dale, and the daybreak symphony of early crows and lowing cattle joined their voices with the sound of hooves on cobble. She exited the farm down the long drive that finally met a rural lane. Lorna followed this road until the familiar gap in the hedge. The old bridleway, road since childhood, had a magical quality. Within a field's distance, the opposing boughs of beech and ash formed a woodland tunnel. Riding through this hallowed portal, Lorna left the busyness of life with all its human commerce and entered a timeless world of ancient fell and moor, alone but not lonely. Fashioned by Carthusian and Dane, the old stone walls broke up the landscape. Spring-fed beck and stream tumbled past broken barns and gold-coloured gorse until cutting a sway through the valley floor. No finer view was there, from horse nor foot, and Lorna knew it as she drew deeply from the mountain air. Marybelle was now more settled. She was going well. Since the foal, she had been Lorna's constant companion both on gentle hacks and with the local hounds. It was good to see her finding form. The remoteness of her dale ensured few people and even fewer cars, which was just how she liked it, but it also provided excellent hunt country. Lorna rode out regularly with the Fellside Blazers, who were a friendly gathering of like-minded country folk, and were drawn almost entirely from the local farms and villages. They met throughout the season on Saturdays and Tuesdays. Lorna approached her favourite gallop, which sat above Fellside, and leaning forward in the saddle, opened the mare up. She was indeed going well. At the end of the gallop, with both out of breath, Lorna brought Marybelle up. Her dapple grey flank pivoted on the spot, swinging Lorna around. She was met with one of the finest views in the riding. But it was not the view that caught Lorna's attention on this occasion, but the white plume of smoke that was forming against the cold winter air above the cottage halfway down. "We have a pope," she joked sarcastically to herself, as she gazed upon Hunter's moon. It had been a long time since she had seen smoke rising from the cottage. She had known the cottage from childhood, and Mr. Blakey was the only occupant she had ever known. He was one of the many underkeepers working for Lord Brandlesham. In the estate's heyday, there had been both the head keeper and a good number of underkeepers presiding over his lordship's pheasantry. But those days were long gone. Everything she had learned about folklore and wildlife she had learnt at the knee of Cecil Blakey, as he sat before his old fireplace with his braces hanging down and his cap still on. Whether from idle curiosity or a sense of nostalgia, she wasn't sure, but she guided Marybelle down the twisted grass path in the direction of Hunter's Moon. "Walk on, Mary," she said softly. The wind had brushed aside the last vapours of morning mist, and the rugged stone walls and bright slate roof glinted before the rising sun. Arriving at the cottage, Lorna drew Marybelle up and for a moment relived her childhood. Her reverie was broken by the approach of an excited Labrador. Major had never met or even seen a horse before and began to bark and bounce around the mare. Lorna could hear the sound of splitting wood. John Reith, putting down his axe, removed a bead of sweat from his brow and made for the gate. "What the bloody hell is it now, Major?" he said, before being stopped in his tracks. Marybelle was up on her toes as Major, more from mischief than menace, was circling the pair. Looking up at the horse and rider, John eventually stuttered, I'm terribly sorry. Come here, Major." Despite his best efforts, the dog continued, and in order not to kick him, Lorna moved Marybelle skillfully to face the hound. Finally, Reith collared Major, and the merry dance came to an end. The puppy licked John's hand unrepentantly and settled at his side. "He's not quite used to horses," said John, looking up. In an instant, Lorna knew who the new occupant of Hunter's Moon was. At that moment, she didn't know whether to be happy or sad. She was glad to see the cottage lived in once again, but wary of the stranger. "That's okay," she said, finally calming Marybelle down. "But he will have to learn, living here. This is horse country." John at first felt suitably reprimanded, and then realised that it was, in fact, his property, and they were the intruders. "Do excuse me," said John. "I don't think we've met." He wiped his hands on his trousers and extended one up to her. "John Reith." She crouched forward in the saddle and, slightly taking his hand, removed her cap, the remainder of her hair falling to her shoulders, and said, "Oh, I think we have." She wasn't smiling. Then John realised. "Bugger me, it's that lass from the auction," he thought to himself. "You remember the girl with the trailer too big for a bottle of port?" John looked to the ground and bit his lip. "Of course it's her. How many other beauties can there be in this particular part of the universe?" "Oh, dear, yes," said Reith bashfully. "Just a bit of sport." "I like to confine my sport to the hunting field," she shot back. "But then I don't imagine you ride much. Anyway, the bottle of port was just an idea for my father at Christmas, but it's no matter." John simply stood there for a while, looking into the eyes of this confident young lady, not quite knowing what to say, until eventually he said, "Listen, I'll get it. I drink too much anyway. Don't go anywhere." Beginning to soften, Lorna said, "No, it's okay. I only meant to say we were having something of a bad morning. Not for you to... Before she could finish, John scarpered off and made for the house. After turning up the cushions and opening the cupboards, John finally found the port. It was on the windowsill in the kitchen, hidden by a curtain. Reith came out of the cottage and, turning the corner, spilled onto the track, holding the bottle aloft triumphantly. "Here you go," he said, but then looked dejected. Lorna and Marybelle had already moved off and were already at the foot of the hill. He put one hand to the side of his mouth and bellowed, "I didn't get your name!" Hearing John, she halted briefly, and standing up in the saddle, she looked back and shouted, "I didn't give it to you." She rode on and said once more again under her breath, "I didn't bloody well give it to you, Mr. Reith." And with that she drew up the reins and brought the horse into a canter. Reith stared on as the handsome pair disappeared at speed behind gorse and heather, and looking down at Major said, "Well, old boy, that seems to be bloody well that. Help me in with these logs." John gathered up the logs from the yard, and they both returned to the warmth of Hunter's Moon. So there we are. The end of chapter 8, my friends, my wee congregation. And so just finishing off today, I'd just like to thank Vicky. Now, where's Vicky from? Alabama. For all her coffees that she bought me last night. That's most kind of you, Vicky. I shall remember you in my prayers. You mentioned that you were a believer, but not a Catholic. I'll leave you to adjudicate whether that's a good or a bad thing. I know snuff is a good thing, you know. It's supposed to keep away colds. I don't know, nicotine is supposed to be good also. I don't know. Some say it's good against COVID and other things, but who knows? I'm not minded one way or the other, really. Life's too short. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying Hunter's Moon. They're not normally the most popular of my videos, and I can't blame people. There's nothing more tiresome or narcissistic, is there, than an author reading his own poetry or books. But I thought it's a good way of disciplining myself to present them to the public and also to read them so I get a feeling for how it sounds as a novel and how it unfolds, chapter by chapter. And we're only 8 chapters in. There's about 60 chapters, so it's going to be a long haul, folks, although I might conflate some of the chapters. So there we go. I hope you're having a great time. I watched a film last night. It wasn't on Netflix. It wasn't on Prime. It was on the iPlayer. So I'm sorry for misdirecting you. It's just called Priest. Not to be confused with that weird apocalyptic thing where they kill zombie vampires and whatever. Yeah, that's a load of rubbish. No, this is a real-life drama, and a very good one. I'm not going to give you any kind of adjudication whether I agree with the tenets of the film or the drawings of the film or the points in the film or the circumstances of the film. I leave that to yourselves. But what I can promise you is, I don't know how long it was, an hour and a half, 2 hours, of quite engaging drama. I mean, it's not a boring film. The dialogue is brilliant. The humour in it is brilliant. The acting in it is brilliant. There are some scenes which I found a little bit challenging, which you will understand when you see them, if you watch it. But if you haven't seen it, you out there, my friends, have a look at it. See what you think. I would love to know what you thought of it in the comments. And I mean, that's genuine. I really would like you to watch it and tell me what you thought. I'm not going to say what I thought particularly. I'll let you know after the comments. But do have a look. I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm quite weary today. I suppose it's because, you know, when you have unexpected visitors and they're with you an hour or so, 2 hours or so, I don't know. I'm a recluse. I get drained very easily. And but it's been a good day. It's been a good day. More work has happened You know, things are all moving in the right direction. I even went onto the planning site today of Shropshire Council to see what on earth I need to be doing about permissions. But what I thought was, forget everything I said on the other video, whether I'm going to crack on with the chapel and extend it and do this, that and the other. I've decided I'm not going to. I'm actually going to work on the house that requires no permissions, which is most of the house. That means I can just get on with stuff. I'll leave the council to right at the end when doing the chapel. I don't need council's permission to do anything else on this place. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll make this unbelievably habitable and wonderful. And then we'll worry about chapels. What do you think? I think I'm right, don't you? So anyway, my lovely wee congregation, my flock of misfits and mavericks, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to go back down the hill, back into my wee caravan. It's cold, so I shall put the oven on for a bit of warmth, finish my whiskey. I might fire up a pipe, and I will definitely see you tomorrow. I've got no workmen coming tomorrow, thank the Lord. Hopefully nobody will be dropping in on me, although as much as I appreciated the visit today. And I'm just going to psych myself up for going to the hospital on Shrewsbury. I'm going to have to scrub myself down. I'm going to have to be hosed down. I'm not sure that the medical establishment are quite ready for Father John in all his glory. Certainly not in an unhosed condition. And with that lovely thought in your heads, I bid you good night, good evening. God go with you, God be with you, and see you tomorrow night. This is Father John signing out. Cheerio.